Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Minister of Education, Madad Saab, Chairman Higher Commission, Ms. Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, the Head of ICE, Sumbul, the Vice Chancellor of Iqra University and a very respected educationist, Dr. Nasser Ikram, and also the Vice Chancellor and Rector of Islamic International University, my friends Graham and Maria from UK, respected students, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. First of all, I'm very grateful to ICE, Iqra University, and International Islamic University for inviting me here as the keynote speaker. Despite I asked Sumbul and Shahpur that why you invited me as a speaker, because I'm not an educationist, neither am an higher education person. So there is a disclaimer also that next 2 days you will learn more from the learned speakers from education sector. I never worked in the education sector directly, but I'm supporting the education cause in Pakistan. So my talk will be more on the overall human capital development and the socio-economic development. And I will try to build the case of education and higher education in Pakistan through some references and through some case studies. My dear friends, day before yesterday, I was attending a dialogue as one of the speakers in Karachi during the 5th edition of Adab Festival. And that dialogue was all about on development pathways, which is the new book of Dr. Ishrat Hussain. So he invited me there for talk on his book. And this is all about the comparison between Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh after 75 years. So let me start my talk with this comparison, because for the larger picture we should understand where we are standing as a state of Pakistan and what is the status of our education and later the higher education. All of you are aware that India is now a global power. Their economy is rising, they are expanding like anything. For example, I served as the State Minister for Investment, and our today's FDI, the foreign direct inflow, last year was $1.3 billion. But India's 2022 FDI inflow was $49 billion. Our IT exports is around $2.1 or $2.2 billion officially. An official number is $3.5 million. But India's IT size, industry size, is around $228 billion. Out of $228 billion, 187 is their IT exports. So actually, there is no comparison today. There is no comparison. But trust me that in 1991, we were the same. In fact, our GDP was better than India, only 32 years back. And then their economy opened, and in the last 32 years, they progressed very well. What is the root cause? Anyone? Their education system. Trust me, their education system. Not only their IIMs, which is Indian Institute of Management, and IITs, Indian Institute of Technologies, which are producing the world-class leaders, but the overall infrastructure they developed for their education sector in last 50 and 60 years. This is the major difference between Pakistan and India today. They are producing global leaders. Around 49 or 50 global MNC CEOs are Indians or Indian origin. So they are expanding like anything. And one of the key reasons is that India is spending 60% more on education as per their GDP in comparison with Pakistan, 60% more. So I'm only referring India, and Bangladesh is another story as far as the economic development in the last few decades is concerned. In Pakistan, today's population size is 250 million, as per the new census. And by 2047, our size will be over 400 million. Out of 400 million, around 67-68% population size will be under 30 years of age. So this is a huge, huge bulge. But what is happening in Pakistan? We are discussing about politics, economy, everything. But we are world's 5th largest nation with 250 million population today. And the biggest threat to Pakistan today is not India or Israel or anyone else. This is an internal threat. And the situation is beyond alarming because 28 million kids, and these are the authentic numbers, I'm sharing with complete responsibility. 28 million kids are out of school. So you are not providing them education, and you are not providing them any vocational training, जिसे हम उर्दू में हुनर कहते हैं. And so it is today's number. In addition to this 28 million kids out of school, there are millions and millions of kids who are part of our pathetic public sector education system in the villages and also in the slums of our urban centers. So total number is around 45 million, because these slums and these public sector students can write only their name and few lines after matriculation. So if this today's size is 45 million, after 23 or 24 years, when Pakistan will be 100 years of age, with 400 million population, the size will be doubled, around 9 or 10 crore. So now imagine that you are not providing and you are producing 10 crore students without education or without any vocational training. This will be more disastrous situation in Pakistan. और इसके लिए आपको 24 साल का वेट नहीं करना पड़ेगा. This is just across the wall in next 5, 7, 8 or 10 years. So this is the root cause where we are standing as a nation. I served in the government, I worked with several governments very closely, and with all due respect with everyone, every government, whether civilian government or the military governments in the last few decades, their work about education was not long-term. There was no long-term planning, complete absence of a strategy. And talks about education or claims about education is only a lip service till today. Till today, this is a sad state of affairs. And there is a need of big rethink for the state of Pakistan, for all of us as Pakistanis, as concerned Pakistanis, for a big rethink about the education sector. Higher education is the second phase actually. And sadly, we are spending only 1.7% of our GDP on education. I'm not aware about the higher education number. Dr. Mukhtar will tell us better. But I understand very well कि जब हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन भी स्टेट से मदद मांगता है तो वो बजट्स एलोकेट नहीं होते जितने बजट्स मांगे जाते हैं. So this is a situation in Pakistan which is actually a point of concern, in fact beyond alarming. So this is my view about the overall system as far as the human capital development, as far as the socio-economic development is concerned. Because everything is linked with these numbers I mentioned to you. Second, I want to focus on the quality of education here in the higher education. This is also a very important subject. Many universities are doing commendable work, but there is a need of more and more practical collaboration of universities with the industry. We are listening about industry-academia linkage all over since last many decades. One of my colleagues, Rabia, was the head of industry-academia linkage in NUST for over 10 years, I think. So we were discussing in the morning about the real status of industry-academia linkage. So there is a need of the hour to focus the real collaboration between industry and academia. I want to share one story. A few years back, I invited Professor Taylor Cowan. He is the chair of economics for George Mason University, one of the top economists in the world. He is regularly contributing in Bloomberg and Forbes on monthly basis. So this was his first ever visit to Pakistan, and he was studying about Pakistan's economy. So after 6 days visit, he shared his frank and candid views with us. And his conclusion after 6 days visit was, as a state of Pakistan, you should stop everything. You should only focus on two things. One is education, which is the most important priority, and second is your economy. In next 10, 12 years, there's any problem? Okay. So in next 10, 12 years, you will be in a position to stand amongst the nation. But without education, you can't succeed. You can't progress. This is impossible. For universities, I want to share a case because I was part of 2 leadership retreats of Harvard Business School in 2015 and 16, chaired by the Dean of Harvard. And in 2016, I remember one day after the discussion dinner, he was actually engaging all the participants for the endowment fund of Harvard. And he shared, this was in December 2016, that in 1992 and 93, there were 6 German universities in the list of top 50 universities in the world. Top 50 universities in the world. And he said today, there is no German university in the top 50 universities in the world. All these 60 universities are existing, but they were unable to innovate. They were unable to do more research. They were unable to invest more on research and innovation. So he said to the participants that Harvard is one of the leading institutes today, but there is no guarantee that after 25, 30 years, we will enjoy the similar position, or we will be out of 50 or 60 universities in the world. So I shared this with the Sayyid Babar Ali Saab of LUMS and many other friends in the academia, because there is a need, when I said collaboration of industry-academia linkage, there is a need to do more and more research and innovation in our universities, to raise more and more funds for endowment funds. Because without this financing, we can't do more and more research and innovation in our universities. So this is my point number 2. after discussing the human capital and socio-economic development. One important thing I was thinking when I was sitting here, that universities and schools are also for the building the character of students. And what we are teaching to our students is very important. मेरा एक senior associate था Dr. Pali Manama from Sri Lanka. वो एक बात कहता था, he passed away 3 years back, कि degree is only the license for practice. ये बात वो 10 साल पहले कहता था. And next 8-10 years there will be no value of degree. Degree की value खत्म होती जा रही है. So now I am addressing directly to the students कि आप सबकी जो responsibility है ना, वो सिर्फ इम्तिहान पास करना नहीं है. ये जो टेक्स्ट बुक में पढ़ाया जा रहा है वो नहीं है. आपने ऑलराउंडर्स बनना है, आपने ओवरऑल अपनी डेवलपमेंट करनी है. And here, of course, the university role is very important. So I propose through this forum, because many senior education persons are here, education minister is here, the chairman higher education commission is here. There is a need of building the centers of critical thinking in our universities. इस बात को लोग सीरियस नहीं लेते, but trust me, there is a need of centers for critical thinking in our all universities. Because as nation, what is happening today कि हमने सोचना बंद कर दिया है. हमको बताया जाता है कि ये वाइट है और ये ब्लैक है, और पूरी कौम को हम ये समझते हैं कि उसको वो फॉलो करे. सो जो क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग है वो यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए, उनके स्टूडेंट्स के लिए एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एरिया है, जिसपे हमारी यूनिवर्सिटीज को एक बिग रीथिंक की जरूरत है कि यहां पर वो ये सेंटर्स डेवलप करें, क्यूरिकुलम में इसको इंक्लूड करें. बिकॉज की responsibility of universities is to produce leaders, not workers, not followers. We need to produce thinkers actually. And without thinking, critical thinking, there is no point कि आप thinkers produce कर सकें. We need thinkers. And मैं सिर्फ आखिरी में, टाइम कम है, बातें करने की तो बहुत कुछ हैं, सिर्फ ये कहूँगा कि जो स्टेट ऑफ पाकिस्तान होती है, and I'm not representing any political party, neither I was part of any political party. I'm a concerned citizen of Pakistan. और मैं इसलिए स्टेट ऑफ पाकिस्तान की बात करता हूँ. पॉलिटिकल पार्टी कोई भी हो, सिविल गवर्नमेंट हो, मिलिट्री गवर्नमेंट हो, बट दिस इज टाइम फॉर स्टेट ऑफ पाकिस्तान टू फोकस their next 20-25 years mostly on education. And education minister साहब आप यहाँ बैठे हैं, you are part of the cabinet, and आपके मेरे दोस्त काकड़ साहब भी बैठे हैं, और काकड़ हमारे बहुत अच्छे दोस्त भी हैं, और मैं सिर्फ इस वजह से भी काकड़ भाई की रिस्पेक्ट करता हूँ कि he started his career as a school teacher. So this is the time कि ठीक है इलेक्शंस होने हैं, फरवरी 8 को होंगे नहीं होंगे वो पता चलेगा, लेकिन एक स्टेट का जो नैरेटिव है ना, वो एजुकेशन की तरफ आना चाहिए. आप यकीन करें, ये जो रोडें हैं आप ये ना बनाएं या आप बाकी चीजें ना बनाएं, जो मैंने आपको नंबर्स शेयर किए हैं, अगर आज आपने इस पे इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया, यकीन करें शायद कल हमारा बहुत प्रॉस्पेरस नहीं हो सकेगा. सो जो हम यहां वेस्टेज कर रहे हैं बहुत सारी टैक्स पेयर्स मनी की, जिसमें ओवर 1 ट्रिलियन रुपीस हम हर साल पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइजेस पे खर्च करते हैं, उसको एड्रेस करने की जरूरत है. एंड जो नॉन डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर्स हैं इन द सिविलियन गवर्नमेंट, इन द सिविलियन ब्यूरोक्रेसी एंड द मिलिट्री ब्यूरोक्रेसी, उसको कम करने की जरूरत है. इन तमाम फंड्स को एलोकेट करने की जरूरत है. आप 10 टाइम्स 15 टाइम्स अपना बजट बढ़ाएं. तो ये मेरी सिर्फ एक इस फोरम के थ्रू आपको रिक्वेस्ट होगी. थैंक यू. पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद.